Welcome back. I'm Emily at Emily's podcast, Tribute to All Little Angels, Part 6, Episode 5 of Refresh Our Memory. This is another episode of Times, Dates, and Events. November 30th, 2018. I call Matt, the attorney. December 10th, 2018, 2:50 p.m. Matt calls. He said he hasn't heard from Stan, the city manager. December 12th, 2018, I call Matt. He's in court. 1 week, 1 day, no call back. Another year is to begin, and I've heard nothing from the law office. And I'm praying as every first of the year, this is the year. And let me just say, finally, on January 4th, 2019, Matt calls. He said Stan is apologizing for not getting back to us. Stan had lost Matt's phone number. He said, January 8th, 2019, I call the attorney Matt. He isn't in. 3:19 p.m. Matt calls back. He said he hasn't heard from Stan. January 11th, 2019, Matt calls. He said he talked with Stan, and Stan and him are going to be meeting on Monday or Wednesday, but Stan has not given any time yet. January 14th, 2019, Matt calls saying we have a meeting at 2:00 p.m. on January 16th, 2019. A meeting with Stan, Mark, my attorney Matt, and myself. January 15th, 2019, 4:44 p.m. A news segment is on News 9 talking about the cemetery and how it floods all the time. A lady is telling her story. And yes, it is the same cemetery. January 16th, 2019, 9:00 a.m. I call Matt to talk to him about the news segment. 2:00 p.m. we are at the meeting. Stan, the city manager, Mark, the city groundsman, Vanessa, I would imagine a secretary, Matt, my attorney, and myself. They admit the headstones were moved, and Stan hands Matt a paper. We discuss meeting with Mark at the cemetery on Friday, January 18, 2019, to see where the surveyor says the headstones are to set. Matt said then, Emily, if you need me to come out there, I will go with you. January 18, 2019, 11:28 a.m., Mark, the city groundsman, calls. He asked me if we could meet at the cemetery at 1:30 p.m. And of course I agree. I call Matt at 11:31 a.m. I call Matt at 11:32 a.m. I call Matt at 11:33 a.m. Christmas music is playing on their end. No answer, no callback. 1:10 p.m. I arrive at the cemetery. The clock on my dad switched over to 1:11 p.m. I drove back to visit Wyatt. Then I drove around to visit Megan. As I pull up, I see red boxes drawn in the grass. I drove away and I start crying, knowing the red boxes are not right. I pull back up to the area to take pictures, and at the same time I see Mark driving toward me. As Mark and I approach one another, I tell him those boxes are not right, and I show him where the headstones should go. I even told him of an example of a picture he was holding, and he then slipped it underneath other photos he had. But it was an example of the headstone that used to sit on the north corner of the east-west street, but now sits on the south corner. Mark and I did not agree to any of this, and then I arrived home shortly later. I call Matt, he's with a client. I left a message, and at 5:19 p.m. Matt calls back. I tell him the red boxes were drawn in the grass, but even further away from where they belong, even from where the floodwater washed them away too. Matt asked, "Did Mark say he would get it done?" I answered Matt and said, "Mark said he would take care of it for me." And I have not heard no more. January 29th, 2019. I call Matt. He's not heard from anyone. Matt said he would call the city next week. I then addressed my concerns of the city digging in the cemetery to fix the flooding problem in that cemetery. I expressed they need to fix the problem with the headstones and get that area fixed. Matt agrees and said, they would be stupid to try to do anything like that. Like what? Matt calls February 5th, 2019 at 8:41 a.m. and leaves a message. February 6, 2019, 2:55 p.m. I call Matt back. He was wanting me to know to call him if I hear from Stan, or he will call me if he hears from them. February 8, 2019, 2:26 p.m. Matt calls. He said he heard from Stan. Stan has been at home sick. They talked. Matt said Stan asked him, if we dig, how are we to know it's Megan? Matt said he told Stan there is a Bible with her name engraved. February 14, 2019. I call Matt. He's out the door to court. He's not heard from Stan. February 22nd, 2019. I went into Matt's office. No word from Stan. February 25th, 2019. 3:20 p.m. Matt calls. He said he called Stan, and Stan didn't remember any conversations between the two of them from 3 weeks ago. Stan is going to talk to the city attorney and Mark about the laws of digging where our property site is. Matt said he will call Randy, the city attorney, and Matt was to give Stan until March 4th, 2019. Matt mentioned filing litigation. And Matt knows I do not want to dig Megan up. Matt even asked, I wonder why no one else is complaining. I said, oh, there are others. I'm sure these people are being told the same thing. They cut down a tree. February 26, 2019. No call. February 27, 2019. No call. February 28, 2019. No call. March 1st, 2019. Still no calls. March 4th, 2019. I finished writing the differences in the pictures. March 5th, 2019. No word. Until 2:28 p.m. Matt calls. Stan has not called back. He said, let's file litigation. We then talked about digging the headstone up, and we talked about price. Matt asked me to call him Tuesday, March 12, 2019, and he will call Stan. March 6, 2019. Madison and I probed the second area. the North Tree area. We probed in 3 different spots, and when Madison stuck the probe in a certain area where I thought the tree stood until a storm cracked it in half and the city cut it out in 2010, 2011, Google Earth. But when the probe went in the ground, Madison said, I felt it when it hit. The rod was about 6 to 8 inches down in the ground. March 12, 2019. I call Matt. I did not hear back. March 13, 2019. No word today from Matt either. March 18, 2019. 9:54 a.m. Matt calls. He said he just talked with Stan. Stan will talk with Brian, the city attorney, to see what we can do. Matt said, Stan asked me for my phone number again. Matt talked of reading the laws of other stories that have gone through this same thing. 10:39 a.m. Matt calls back saying, the law is on our side. He said Stan is to call me back as soon as he talks with Brian. As of March 27, 2019, not a word. March 29, 2019, Matt calls Stan. Stan is going to set up 3 different dates for my attorney, Matt, to meet with their attorney, Randy or Brian, about the laws. Matt said, Stan asked, how did the baby pass? Matt then asked, if we dig up the casket, can you identify the casket without having to open it? I told Matt, yes, I have pictures. Matt said, of course you do. Get your pictures out. April 3rd, 2019. Matt is to call Stan, and I have not heard anything. Friday, April 5th, 2019. I've still not heard anything. April 12th, 2019. 2 weeks of Stan calling Matt to set up appointments for lawyers to talk. And just to let you know, none of what they say they were going to do, they done none of it. April 13th, 2019. Madison took Megan's photo album out of her diaper bag keepsakes. April 15th, 2019. This is the beginning of the 3rd week for the 2 attorneys to meet, and I've not heard anything. April 22nd, 2019. Nothing. April 23rd, 2019. Matt calls, and I'm so disappointed to find out nothing has been done. There has been no communication the past 3 weeks, and Matt then asked me about my family talking about digging her up. I told Matt I do not want to dig Megan up, but if we have to resort to that, we will dig her up and have her removed from this cemetery. 2:37 p.m. I call a funeral home to ask questions. April 24th, 2019. 9:48 a.m. A lady from the funeral home calls me back. She tells me the process and the cost. The lady is going to call the Volt company and the medical examiner. She's waiting on the health department to call her back. She said she's going to call the city to see what their process is. 9:56 a.m. I call Matt to tell him the process. He's not in. 11:52 a.m. Matt calls me back. Matt said, Emily, you did a great job on your timeline. He said, I even went back to double check the times and dates of what you gave me, and they all matched up. and why wouldn't they? Matt said, I will call Stan and let him know we are fed up. Matt then asked me to ask the lady at the funeral home if we would be able to attend the groundbreaking. April 26, 2019. Matt calls. He tells me again, you did a great job on your timeline. He said, we are done with Stan. We are not waiting on Stan anymore. Stan is retiring. The new city manager is now another man. Matt said, I called him, but he is not in. Matt and I talked about Google Earth of when the north tree was cut out, and we found between May 2010 to October 2011, April 30th, 2019, 2:19 p.m., Matt calls. I missed his call. 2:26 p.m., I call Matt back. Matt talked to the new city manager yesterday on April 29, 2019. Matt said this man is to set up an appointment on May 13, 2019. Matt and I, the new city manager, their attorney, and Stan. Matt said this new man didn't have any idea of what had been going on. And for this very reason is why I haven't given his name. Matt asked, did you view Google Earth? I said, yes, we did. He said, it's pretty cool how you can view that. I said, yes, it is cool. I was looking for the two trees when they cut one out. Matt said, I was looking at the poles and other trees. May 1st, 2019. Nicole and I went to the health department. We went to get Megan's death certificate. They did not have one on file. 10:17 a.m., we left there and Nicole calls the funeral home of who buried Megan. Nicole asked for the paperwork for Megan's burial. The woman who answered the phone said she would go to the trailer to find it. The woman told Nicole she would call Nicole back by lunch. 11:08 a.m., Matt calls. I missed his call. 11:09 a.m., I call Matt back. He said, we have an appointment at the city hall, the same building where we met Stan, same area, second floor, on May 13, 2019, at 9 o'clock a.m. At 11:57 a.m. this morning, Nicole had to call the woman at the funeral home back. The woman was still in the trailer. 4:43 p.m., the funeral director calls Nicole. He asked what we were trying to do. Nicole briefly tells him what was going on, and he told her he didn't file a death certificate back then because Nicole was not 6th-month term. He said, I can look for her paperwork to see what we have. Then he told Nicole not to be disrespectful, but there wasn't anything there. She wasn't anything. Nicole said, I understand what you are saying, but we are still wanting her out of there. He said, I can get the documents together and let you know when to pick them up. And as for that comment, she wasn't anything? Yes, it is very disrespectful. But from what you see in pictures, she was there. She was something. She is something. 5:37 p.m., the funeral director calls to tell Nicole to pick up the documents. May 2nd, 2019, Nicole and I went to pick up them documents. 4:47 p.m., I sent the lady at the funeral home from one funeral home to another the documents. I emailed them. May 7th, 2019. I finished the rough draft of the timeline for the case. I put the pictures in for the meeting on Monday. May 9th, 2019, 4 years. May 13th, 2019. Today is 4 years and 4 days. 9:00 a.m., the meeting. Brooks, the new city manager. Stan, the retiring city manager. Vanessa, the secretary. Randy, the city attorney. Matt, the attorney of mine, and I tell my story after the introductions. I tell it from beginning to end. I gave Matt, my attorney, and Brooks, the new city manager, a copy of the timeline of events. They ask me, how will we identify her if we dig her up? Matt tells them a Bible with her name engraved, and I said a crochet blanket. They gave permission to dig, and they all agree we can, and there will be no problems. But from this day, May 13th, 2019, until August 29th, 2019, Matt worked on a petition. Nicole and I notarized papers for court. Matt had us notarize an emergency injunction, which he said it would stop them from digging. August 23rd, 2019, the day they staked the cemetery to fix the drains. September 9th, 2019, they start work on the drains in the cemetery. Men are working in the southwest area of this cemetery. I messaged Matt to tell him, but he didn't seem concerned. October 2nd, 2019, there is an orange stake set in for a new headstone west of Megan's area. October 11th, 2019, there are men working in Megan's area to fix the drains. This is the same day I sat out there all day, from morning till late afternoon, watching. I took a break at lunch when the workers did and went back to watch until I picked Madison up from school. Then I went back, her and I, until they wrapped everything up for the day. October 17th, 2019. They set in a big drain north of Babyland 6 West, the north corner of the east-west street. We went to court the same day. We were granted by a judge to dig. October 28, 2019. There is no small drain in Babyland 6 West, east of the double headstones. October 30th, 2019. Headstone stake is still there, west of the south tree. October 31st, 2019. Stake for the headstone is still there. Also now, a new small drain is set in east of the double headstones, east of the south tree, Megan's tree. November 6, 2019, the drains are done. Work seems to be done. There is a man blowing dirt off the grass in Babyland 6 West and the road. November 9, 2019, there's gravel cement around the small drain. They also set in the headstone west of the south tree. 2 weeks after they were done with the drains, they set up a date to dig for Megan. November 26, 2019, at 1:00 p.m. And from that day on, every day, 2-3 times a day, I go to the cemetery to check on things. And yes, you already know, I take pictures. And that's every time I am out there. November 21st, 2019. There are now men working on the east-west street corner, east of Megan's tree, east of Megan's area. They are widening the street corner. November 22nd, 2019. I took a picture, and in the picture, later on, you can on this day see dark lines in the grass, one on each side of the rock headstone, east of where we dug Megan's headstone up. We did not notice these dark lines over this next 4 days. November 25th, 2019, 5:31 p.m., Matt calls to ask if the city marked the headstone. I told him yes. I said, yes, I've been out there, and yes, it has red box drawn around Megan's headstone. Matt, the attorney, makes the comment, I will have to be there, huh? Then he thought the time was at 1:30 p.m. and not 1 o'clock p.m. I corrected him. He said, I will be there at 12:30, 12:45 p.m. I said, I will be there. And then the rest of my day is spent getting my paperwork, my timeline, and pictures in order to be ready. And I am ready, because I know from the time we laid Megan to rest, and as you can see in pictures, the area where Megan was laid to rest, and then the area south of her, was an open area. There were no headstones there until the flood water washed the headstones to that area. So I am optimistic they will not find any casket, and at the least find Megan's. There were only 2 new headstones set in over years. One was closer to the south tree, the existing tree, which I could even point out where that headstone sat. And the other headstone sat next to this headstone until the day of the flood. Now they both sat further south away from the tree. And please keep in mind also, the Babyland 6th West blue and white sign that sits in front, east of the south tree, the existing tree, the sign. It has sat there from early 2000 until, well, now. The sign is still in place. The headstones are not. The tree is still in place, and the sign east in front of the same tree it was in front of in 2000, 2004, all the way up to 2014. Until 2015, the headstones are moved. The tree and the sign still intact in the same place. Pictures tells the story. And one more thing to think. Why would my lawyer ask me the day of the digging, how you gonna feel when you are wrong today? Why would my lawyer ask me that? Thank you for listening. Stay kind with your words.